Folks, bear with us for a little bit. We're having some technical problems up here with our new computer system, so give us a few minutes. All right, the time is approximately 6:01. The meeting for August 21st, 2025, Farragut Municipal Planning Commission will now begin. The chair's welcome. I've got to bring you up to date on some current information. Good evening, and good evening to those of you in attendance and online. Thank all of you for attending tonight's Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meeting. My name is Ron Pinchuk. I am the chairman that will be conducting tonight's Planning Commission meeting. We appreciate that each of you has taken the time from your schedules to either attend or view tonight's meeting to observe how our town government works. All Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meetings are public noticed per Tennessee State Law, TCA 8-44-103. All Planning Commission meetings are streaming on the Farragut YouTube channel, and links to the recordings may be found on the Town of Farragut website. Those in attendance should have been able to pick up a copy of the agenda at the door when you came in tonight. If you were not able to attend in person and are viewing from home, you will be able to see the agenda posted on the Town of Farragut website. For any persons in attendance who would like to address this commission concerning an item on tonight's agenda, please pick up a blue card at the door and write your name, address, and agenda number that you wish to comment on and give it to Mark Shipley down here at the desk. There will also be time reserved at the end of the business meeting for residents' comments on non-agenda subjects, which also requires that you also fill out a blue comment card and include your name, address, and topic of your comments. On each agenda item, the chairman will ask the town staff for Farragut residents' input. During this time, any Farragut resident wishing to speak to the Planning Commission on that specific agenda item may do so for up to 3 minutes. After being recognized by the chairman, please proceed to the podium in front of us in order to be heard and viewed by all. To conduct efficient business-like meetings, the town has adopted rules for how its meetings will be conducted. Primarily, these rules are designed to keep the meeting progressing along, assure that all points of view are heard and considered, and to provide common courtesy to everyone. We ask that you observe the established meeting rules when addressing members of the town, staff, and/or members of the Planning Commission. At the beginning of your presentation, please state your name and address for the record. We ask that you address your questions to the chairman. If necessary, the chairman may call on a commissioner or staff member to address your questions or comments. Once you have given your input, please return to your seat. We ask that persons speaking avoid the use of improper language and profanity. Please only address the agenda issues. Speakers should strive to present original viewpoints and avoid redundancy. We ask that you also stay on topic of that specific agenda item. Everyone, please remember, we are here tonight doing people's business, and it is a very important responsibility for all of us. Now, I ask that if you are able, please stand for a moment of silence or prayer and reflection to be followed by a recital of the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the approval of agenda. I've established that we have a quorum. We have enough members here, and first question is, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir. Second.
Okay, any comments or questions any further about the agenda? If not, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No?
Everybody should have a little box.
Yeah.
I don't have my screen up.
Do we
Hold
have
on.
to say save?
Here you did.
There we go. And hit save, correct?
Yes, it's safe.
All right. That motion has passed. Moving on to minutes. Are there any amendments to the minutes from the meeting of July 17th?
No, sir.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Any of the commissioners want to make any
Myers
changes?
and Williams.
You abstain? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Go ahead and vote. All right. Tonight, we have 11 action items to review and discuss, considered in our public hearing, and we have one discussion item. Item 4A, action item, a request for approval of the McPhee Dog Park design, Town of Farragut applicant.
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Ron Ostrike, and I serve as the Parks and Recreation Director. Before I get started, I have a question. Who has a dog? 1, 2, 3. All right, good.
You want mine?
No. But what I am going to ask is that when you get home, please share this exciting information with your dog. This is, the project before you is a long-awaited project. It's the third grant project of 4 awarded for the town through TDEC's local Park and Recreation Fund. The exact location is the west side of McPhee Park, between our newest parking lot area and the adaptive trail. The dog park is relatively simple in design. It's fencing, it's little pathway work, and some grass. As you can see, the park is broken up into a small dog and a large dog park with ADA-rated pathways within each park. These paths will be made of an aggregate material that is described as crushed stone with a hardening material that would make the stone solid. As you can see, there's quite a bit of hard surface included in the plan. That dark area that you see above the blue line, that is all designed as concrete. It will be this aggregate material, which will save a lot of expense. The reason for the separate parks is to prevent potential conflicts and injuries of dogs. Due to its hilly location, the small dog park has some retaining walls. You can see that in the red lines above, and a more winding path to meet ADA requirements. The large park has a longer path due to the size and leads to a shade structure and some benches at the bottom. Coming from the parking lot, we'll have a 2-stall restroom facility designed much like the others in the park. This is a separate project later in the fall. As people walk up to enter with their pets, we'll have a transition area, so the big dogs and the small dogs won't mix. Once past the transition, the dogs will have free rein to wander and play. Each of the parks has fun structures for the dogs to play in. That's located in the small dog park, so the dogs will love that. And then that structure is located in the large dog parks for the bigger dogs. Some of the other amenities include benches, a few shade structures, and both human and pet drinking fountains. The entire property, the dog park, will be surrounded with black chain link fence, and that is for the safety of the animals and for the people and to keep everyone safe and separate. Similar to other dog parks, we'll be posting a dog park code of conduct and other important information at the entrances. This is a non-lighted complex, so our evening hours will likely end at early dusk. Our landscape architect estimates that this project could take between 4 and 6 months from start to finish due to all of the excavation required. We are planning to be out to bid in early September and perhaps sooner when we hear back from TDEC. They have the plans now and are looking through them just to make sure that they are ADA compliant. So this puts in potential opening of the dog park in late spring, early summer of 2026. Are there any specific questions you have regarding the dog park?
I have two. First of all, are the restrooms inside the fenced-in area, or is
No.
it on the outside?
They'll be right outside the new parking lot as you enter the area. It's the red area right there,
Got
where
it.
the little dot is. That'll be the restroom.
And the second question I have, there's supposed to be a 16-foot by 16-foot shade area at the end of each of the ADA, the small dog and the
It'll be
large
at the
dog?
end of the large dog park. The smaller dog park is very shaded, so we do not have a shade structure up there.
And my other question is there a shade structure at the entrance, but not because there's so
No.
many trees up there? Got it. Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion to approve as presented.
Do we have any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Well, we've heard from staff. Go ahead.
Normally, Mark reads the summary that's in the agenda, didn't read this time, did he?
No, he did not.
I didn't read it because Ron was presenting this one, but I'll do it on the ones that aren't other staff. No,
Protocol.
I'll do it for the other ones, but Ron and Daryl will do these first two.
Got too many Rons.
Yeah. 3 runs make it right.
All right, is there any other comments or questions? If not, it's time to vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? All right, motion passes. Do you want to tell us the results?
Yeah, the motion passed 6-0.
Thank you.
This is the reconstruction of Virtue Road as well as a portion of Boyd Station Road. It begins at a point at the southern end of Virtue Phase 1 improvements that were completed back in 2022. From there, it extends down to Boyd Station Road and then to the west to Willow Cove Way. The project addresses several safety issues that we've known about for several years, mostly having to do with limited sight distance. It does also flatten the curve where Virtue Road ends at Boyd Station. One interesting element of this project is about 1,300 feet of boardwalk on the eastern side of Virtue Road, extending from Turkey Creek Road to the south. It will link to a greenway coming out of the Grove at Boyd Station subdivision. Jason Elliott is with us tonight from LDA Engineering. He's our consultant. If you have any questions, I'm sure he'll be able to answer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any citizens signed up to speak?
No, sir.
State your name and your address.
Jason Elliott, 2970 Sagegrass Drive, Louisville. And I'm with LDA Engineering. We're doing the design work on this project. Mark, I may ask you to jump around a little bit. Rather than going through the entire set of plans, I'm going to just highlight some of the examples of where we're improving safety, where we're adding connectivity for peds and bikes, because this area, I think, as you probably all know, is in a gap of the Farragut Greenway system. So we're attempting to fill that gap to some degree. So I just wanted to give you all a few examples of where we're doing that along the project. I'm also going to talk briefly at the end about traffic calming, which has been brought up by several residents out here. So where was that picture? Can you go back to the photos? Yeah. So this is a boardwalk that we just finished building in Alcoa. It's part of, it's not very long and it's not very tall like the one that we're going to have here along Virtue, but it's the same construction. It's all timber except for the stainless steel tension cables, which makes up the railing. And it's really attractive, especially in person. I don't think the photos do it justice, but we've actually done several of these in Blount County, and I think they're a nice addition, nice aesthetic. All right, so let's talk about safety a little bit. I'm going to try to limit this to 10 minutes. If I go way too long, let me know. If you go to the first plan sheet, Mark, sheet 4, yeah. So for improving safety on a roadway corridor, there are several ways to do that. For instance, on this project, we are widening the lanes slightly from about existing 10-foot width to 11-foot lanes, which is about what TDOT likes to see, 11-foot minimum. We're adding curb and gutter on both sides of the road. That creates a somewhat physical obstruction to the edge of the road, sort of like rumble strips does on the freeway. You know, if you hit it, you're going to wake up. So those are kind of minor ways to increase safety. The more effective way is to improve the geometry, and Daryl touched on that a little bit. The horizontal geometry or the alignment, the center line of the road, there wasn't a lot of improvement to be made out here, but there were a few locations, namely that pretty much what is a 90-degree curve between where Virtue Road ends and Boyd Station begins. So obviously we're going to flatten that one out. The other one that's worth noting is, I'm sorry, I'm not directing you correctly. If you can go to sheet 12, yeah, so it should be +8 from where we are.
Which, is that where the boardwalk crosses the?
It's after that, yeah. It's where the sharp curve is, where Boyd Station starts. One more, there we go. Okay, so looking at this plan view, the gray shading represents the proposed asphalt. The dashed, yeah, right there. The dashed lines where Mark's at with the pointer, that's the existing asphalt. So you can see how much we're flattening that out there. That current geometry, the way it is today, is good for about 10 miles an hour going through there. It gives no sight distance. You know, you can't see around that corner really. So this is the obvious example. And then if you go back up to sheet 10.
Jason, before you move on, my concern is,
We have so much technology going on, it's blowing my mind. The people that live on that corner, the Stouts, their driveway, is their sight distance gonna be improved with this? Because my feeling is that people will be able to take this turn a little bit faster than obviously they can right now.
Right.
And so them pulling out of their driveway, they shouldn't have to gun it to, so are they gonna have enough sight distance to see?
So one thing that'll help is we're chopping that hill down, which is their front yard, basically, their lawn. That's going to be cut down some to create a ditch on the edge of the road. So they should be able to see pretty well that way, I mean, until it really starts curving. Now, in the other direction to the north, that was more of a vertical issue where there's a hump in the road, yes, on this. So you're not able to see, this is the set of plans that was the latest set that we submitted to TDOT. Since then, we've cut that high point down about 18 inches. And that greatly improved the sight distance for them coming out of their driveway, turning left. So it's not shown here, but it has been addressed.
Now, I don't know if you've spoken to, I know that they've been involved in the process. I assume most of the turns they make out of their driveway are turning left.
That's what they told me at the public meeting,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
When we get these plans to a final stage, we can send them so you could see that change. All right, Mark, if you'll go back up to, should just be one more sheet, I think. Yes, this spot. Yep, so this is where one of the crossings is going to be from the greenway on the creek side or the east side, and then we're crossing to the west. That is a mid-block crossing, and I'll get more into that a little bit later, of what all is going to go in there. But what we're doing there, you can see in the profile window, we're cutting that down about 2 feet in order to give southbound vehicles more sight distance to where that crossing is going to be. Now, that crossing is also going to have advanced signing, pavement markings, and the flashing yellow lights that are controlled by a push button that the greenway user will press. So we've done everything we know to do to make that crossing safe. Yes.
Does that flashing light southbound and northbound?
When they press that button,
Both
it'll
sides,
activate
yeah.
both of them. Yes, sir. There is one other vertical adjustment that I want to show you, and that's just north of Evans Road. So you'll need to go to sheet 7 for that one. That's it. Okay, station 28 to 29 to the left a little, Mark. So we've been made aware that turning left out of Evans onto northbound Virtue, you cannot see, again, because of a hump in the road. What we're going to do with that hump, we're going to cut it down about 2 feet, just like the other one, and that's shown in the profile window. And that's going to increase the sight distance there about 200 feet. So that should not be a problem anymore. We're also cutting back some of the vegetation on that corner adjacent to the Slayton property. So that's going to open up that whole intersection, and it should be a lot better situation than what's there now for vehicles turning left out of Evans.
Suggestion, if you say cut back, that's something that constantly needs to be trimmed as it stands right now. So I hope that there's more than just cutting it back. I hope it's pulling it up.
They'll be gone.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Because we're having to cut a slope back, so we'll have to clear all those trees before we do that. All right, so we talked about horizontal, vertical. So that kind of covers vehicle and motorist safety and how we're making the roadway better. The next part I wanted to cover was the greenway portion and how bikes and pedestrians will be able to use this corridor now, because now there's really nowhere for them to be on this road. So I'm sure everybody knows about it. If you go back up one more, sheet 7. The greenway is going to start right there. It's going to tie into the existing sidewalk along Evans. There will be a crosswalk that goes across Evans at the stop sign. And so in this area, we're using conventional concrete sidewalk at the intersection, and also just a regular asphalt greenway on the west side of Virtue. And that's that shaded area you see to the bottom below the road. And you can jump to the next one. So it stays on that west side, stays asphalt until we get to Turkey Creek Road. We cross over at, on the north side of Turkey Creek, which, by the way, is going to be a three-way stop now. So that will not be considered a mid-block crossing. There will be a stop condition for all directions. So that's, of course, more desirable when you're crossing pedestrians and bicycles.
Is that intersection seeing, I assume it's meeting those warrants, it's seeing enough traffic from, especially from Turkey Creek Road, that they're not gonna be blowing off the stop sign on Evans Road?
That's correct. That was one thing we were concerned, that there wouldn't be enough volume coming off of Turkey Creek Road, but there was. We did meet the warrant for having a three-way stop there.
Well, you're going to have the road closed, so people will not be there until it's open again, correct?
Do you mean during construction?
Yes.
The traffic control plan, there will be lane closures during construction. But we won't completely close the road unless something changes between now and when we start construction. If, we have a plan in place now where traffic will be allowed to stay on Virtue in one direction only.
Can I ask you, would it be wise, when you start construction and you start with all these lane closures, would it be wise to, at that point, put in the three-way stop? Just so people, they're already slowing down, it's already confusing, putting the three-way stop, and all of a sudden, everyone's getting used to that at the same time that they're slowing down because of construction. It gives you the process of re-triggering everybody and realizing that they need, this is gonna be a three-way stop and this is how it's gonna work.
Yes, and that's exactly how it will happen. There's 3 phases of construction right now, is the way we have it planned. This intersection is in phase 2, so we're gonna start on the north end and make our way south. And Boyd Station will be the 3rd phase. So yes, while there are lane closures, that's when the signing and the pavement marking will go in for the three-way stop. And I know I'm way past 10 minutes.
You're good.
Okay, so the point that I was making was the crossing there will be at a stop condition, and then the greenway picks up again, but this is where the boardwalk starts. And real quick, the reason we did a boardwalk was because the creek is right there. To do a fill section, we would have been impacting the vegetated zone along the creek. It would have been an environmental nightmare. So instead, we're doing timber boardwalk with posts anywhere between 8 and 25 feet, depending on what's happening. But it minimizes the impact to that buffer area along the creek. And it is more expensive, but it definitely is the best way to go. It'll be the best end product also for the users. But like Daryl said, the boardwalk is, what'd you say, 1,200 feet?
It's about 1,200, 1,500 feet.
Goes all the way down. You can scroll down a couple sheets. One more, I think. Yep, to where that crossing is that we looked at earlier. And then it becomes an asphalt greenway again on the west side. And then that will tie in, if you go one more, or maybe 2. Right there, to where the developer for the Grove is building a greenway that's parallel to Boyd Station Road, and that's where we're gonna tie in to that greenway.
Okay, what about the flag lot portion, or the flagpole portion of the, what's coming from the Grove down to Virtue?
Mm-hmm.
Where the crossing's at?
That's where they're building their greenway, on that flag lot portion.
Okay.
And you could see it there. I mean, the property lines are only, I don't know, 50 foot apart there, if that, maybe 30 or 40. So that, as far as I know, that's all that's going on in that flag lot area.
I just wanted it on record for people in the, on TV watching to know what we're talking about, okay?
Okay. All right, so that's the end of the Greenway discussion. And then the only other thing I wanted to touch on was the traffic calming. Even in Phase 1, Virtue Road, speeding was a thing we heard over and over again. How do we get them to slow down out here? So on Phase 1, we did that roundabout there at Needlegrass Lane. On this one, we're doing probably the most effective traffic calming you can do, and that's making them stop halfway down. I don't think you can get any better than that. This roadway is classified as a, not an arterial, but a major collector. So you're very limited on the types of traffic calming you can use. You can't use speed humps, you can't use little traffic islands in the middle like we did on, I can't think of it now. Yes, that's it, Grigsby Chapel. So, you know, there's roundabouts, there's stop condition. We figured the intersection warranted a stop, so that would be a good way to slow people down right about halfway between Boyd Station and the northern end of this project. So
I
that
think
worked.
people will probably, at the crosswalk, they'll just naturally slow down looking to make sure nobody's there. I think that's gonna be a deterrent, speed deterrent as well.
I hope so. Because there will be signing for that crosswalk too. Even though it's not a mid-block, there will still be advanced signing. I think that covers what I wanted to. If anybody has specific questions or wants to look at a particular location, be happy to get into more detail.
I've got one question. The boardwalk, what's the height of the railing along each side?
42 inches, I think, is the standard height.
3.5, 4 feet, okay.
And it's a little taller because of the bicycle use. If it was just a sidewalk where, you know, it's not intended for bikes, it would be a little shorter than that.
How much space between the cables?
Maximum 4 inches.
Good.
That's so a child can't fit their head
That's
through
my
it.
concern is, mom turns around for a second, you don't want somebody.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be over water in any place, or is that all marsh?
Not over water. It'll be over the riprap areas along the shore and in some wooded areas.
Any other questions from, or comments?
My comment is you did a real fine job of explaining that. I think you addressed all the pinch points that we had concerns about, the crosswalk safety and especially the sight distance there at Evans Road intersection. So your presentation was brief but concise. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Agreed.
Appreciate that.
All right, if there's no further discussion, time for a vote. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No? I can't hear you.
We got a pop-up.
Okay, the motion passed 7-0.
All right,
What about the pop-up?
Did you not vote?
I'm gonna,
I voted verbally, but nothing ever popped up.
I did. Wait a minute, there's 7 of us. He
Okay.
said it was 7-0. Yeah, we're good.
As long as you're good.
Okay, next item is, see, where are we? 4C. Request for approval to extend fiber optic cable for charter along a portion of the overhead utility line system from the North Campbell Station Road entrance to the Campbell Station Inn and then across North Campbell Station Road to service the property at 160 North Campbell Station Road. Mastech applicant.
Yes, this is mostly an aerial project. In fact, almost all of it is. There's an existing distribution line along the west side of North Campbell Station Road, just north of Kingston Pike. And they're using that and crossing, I'll pull this up here. And be crossing at an angle to go service, actually the Rural Metro building, at 160 North Campbell Station Road. Now, this part would be, some of it will be directional board when they connect into the actual facility, but the rest of the project is aerial. The staff recommends approval of this fiber optic cable extension, subject to obtaining a right-of-way permit through the engineering department and coordinating the actual service connection with the property owner.
Motion to approve the plan to extend the fiber optic cable with the subject twos.
Second.
All right. Do we have any citizens signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Do we have a representative present? Nope. Well, do commissioners have any questions or comments we may want to address with Mark?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Maybe, it may take Darrell to answer this one, I'm not sure. But as that crosses at that angle over, is that also going to be, I mean, we're going to be putting a mast and arm for a traffic signal on that other side? Is that correct?
That's further north. I mean, you talking about at Jamestown?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's further north. I don't know that it shows up here, but it's not.
it does.
But, I mean, do we already have something on that side of the road already? Is what I'm asking. Where the mast arm will go.
The only thing I can think of is the school zone sign over on that side. I can't think of, and even with the future signal, I don't think there'll be any conflicts unless we have some sort of warning light, which I don't think we would have. Or I guess if we have one of the flashing approach lights for the signal, but I don't think we normally would do that when we have signals so close to each other.
Well, it's not going to be charter anyway, come think of it, because that will be ours for the traffic signal.
Are you talking about our
Yeah,
underground?
Yeah, that's our stuff, yeah, okay, never mind.
It is underground in that area.
Okay, it is? Okay.
What's on the plan does show an aerial crossing diagonally. But I think that's kind of where the mayor was starting is, hey, let's just make sure we don't create a future conflict with the new signal there. So maybe just take a little closer look at it. We should be okay.
I mean, it's further back this way, but anyway, okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
Okay, the motion passed 7-0.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next item on the agenda is item 4D. Request for approval to extend fiber optic cable for Comcast along a portion of the overhead utility line system on the west side of Concord Road, south of Kingston Pike, and then crossing Concord Road to service 116 Concord Road. Comcast applicant.
This project also is mostly an aerial project. They're following an existing distribution line from south of Kingston Pike along the west side of Concord Road, then crossing over with the aerial line to service the medical complex at 116 Concord. Originally, they had open bore installation through about a 38-foot section on the east side of Concord Road. They've changed that to directional boring now, so we have no open trench installation, and that was one of the initial staff comments on the project. With that modification to their plan, the staff recommends approval of this fiber extension project subject to obtaining a right-of-way permit through our engineering department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Okay, do we have a representative? You want to step up to the podium, please? Mr. State your name and your address, please.
Joshua Jones, 4718 Springbrook Road, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Have you got anything you want to add to what Mark already presented?
That's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? No questions, no comments? Thank you. All right. We have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
Sorry. Motion passed 7-0.
Okay. All right, next item is item 4E. Request for approval for a water line relocation associated with improvements to Boyd Station Road, including the roundabout at the access to the Grove at Boyd Station subdivision. FUD applicant.
Yes, this project is basically involving retiring an existing water line that's closer to Boyd Station Road, and they're installing a new 12-inch water line that would be further away from Boyd Station Road to avoid conflicts with the widening that we're going to be doing to Boyd Station Road and the multi-use trail that's going to be constructed along the Boyd Station Road frontage. This also involves crossing of McPhee Road, and there'll be a partial closure of McPhee Road. There was a traffic plan is on the screen there. So they will be installing a 24-inch steel casing across McPhee Road on the westernmost part of this project. But the rest of the project is basically just moving the water line further away from Boyd Station Road, more north to get out of the potential conflict with the project that the town and a developer are working on with Boyd Station Road improvements. So the staff recommends approval of this utility project subject to obtaining the right-of-way permit, and that always includes coordinating erosion and traffic control, which they'll obviously have to do with this project, particularly with Boyd Station Road. So if you
Move
have
to
any.
approve.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Okay. We have a representative. Would you give us your name and address, please?
Edwin Deaton, 122 Durwood Road, Knoxville, Tennessee. All right. Edwin Deaton, 122 Durwood Road, Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right. Anything you want to add to what we just heard from Mark?
Very little. It's a pretty easy one to talk about. The town and the developer participating in a road widening project. They're widening the road, changing the storm drains, adding a greenway. So with that, our water line is in conflict for being under the road and storm pipes going through us. So it's something we're moving. It's a 12 today. It's going to be a 12 tomorrow. We just can't be in conflict with the work. So we're backing up where we're not.
Is that close to the right-of-way? I mean, to the road? In the right-of-way?
It's at the greenway.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
say, 15 feet off the edge of pavement. So
Okay.
it'll be a safer place for us to go work on it in the future if we have to.
Any other questions or comments? If
Are,
not-
just quickly, I assume you're kind of trying to coordinate this with the construction that we're doing now, or?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we've worked with the developer and their contractors, they've been helping get the project corridor to rough grade. I'd hate for us to go in on a green field and put a line in that gets cut out in the high spots and it's 10 feet deep in the low spots. So they're getting the project to rough grade where we can come in and put the line in. And we're going to take advantage of the road closure in that area so we don't have traffic adjacent to where we're working or making connections. So, yeah, the traffic control plan we've presented is pretty much a worst case. I'm hopeful that'll go easier as they get Boyd Station back open. So we're coordinating that with the developer and their contractor.
Yeah, it'd be bad to have both of them closed.
Sure would.
Any other questions, comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No?
Motion passed Motion passed, 7-0.
Associated with the Union Road Improvement Project, FUD applicant.
This project also is an effort by First Utility District to coordinate with another road improvement project, this one on Union Road. It was a little misleading in the plan set in the packet, but really the only area that's really being affected by this at this time is just the area around the bridge, and they're relocating their existing sanitary sewer line and would have to plat a new easement, but this is the new line. To coordinate that around the future bridge construction that would be in association with Union Road. They'll have to have other coordination along the Union Road corridor as that project proceeds, but as far as the action being taken at this time, what's on the screen is what's being requested. Again, this is for coordination with the bridge construction related to Union Road Improvement Project.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Green.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'd like to reword the proposed motion that's in here a little bit. The packet,
Turn your mic on.
I'd like to reword the proposed motion a little bit. The packet that's included had drawings that had two projects. One was for this 20-inch line, and the other was actually for a 2 or 3-inch line. And they're two separate areas and two separate scopes of work. So I wanted to word this motion to make it clear that what we were approving and not to, so that it wouldn't get confused for the record. So my motion is motion to approve the installation of 335 feet of 20-inch iron pipe sewer line to replace and relocate the existing line, which will be abandoned in place. The approval is subject to obtaining a right-of-way permit through the town engineering department, which will include erosion and traffic control and platting a new sanitary sewer line easement. That way it's clear.
I'm going to second that well-crafted motion.
Edward, do you have any issues with that?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from board?
I think it's well covered, yeah.
All righty. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
Okay, motion passed, 7-0.
Thank you. All right, next item, 4G. Discussion and public hearing on approval of a site plan for a children's wing addition at the Concord United Methodist Church, located at 11020 Roan Drive, zoned general single-family residential, R2, Cannon applicant.
Yes, this project, just to show you on the screen in relation to the overall campus, but it's this area right here where the highlighter is. This area has been pre-planned for this construction. It's a 2-story, 12,000 square foot footprint building that is going to be used to support Sunday school services and daycare. Really, the plans were really pretty complete. We only had a few relatively minor comments. The stormwater detention was accounted for with this as part of their calculations originally when it was constructed. They're not adding or taking away any existing parking. So it's basically just an infill of a pre-planned location for this particular addition. So the staff is recommending approval of this plan, subject to the seals being properly signed and sealed. There's a drainage fee that's required. A landscape plan will need to be submitted, as there are some trees that are being taken out as a result of this project. And then First Utility District signing off on the water and sewer plan sheets. With those subject tos, again, we recommend approval.
approve a site plan for the children's wing at Concord United Methodist
Second.
Church with the subject is.
Second.
All right, do we have any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Do we have any representatives from Cannon?
Hi, I'm Jason Hunt with Cannon & Cannon, 10025 Investment Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee. The only thing I really wanted to add was the purpose of this building is to support the existing congregation. So it's not really adding any additional traffic volume. That's why we're also not adding any additional parking spaces.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
Done.
I assume you guys have already met with the fire marshal and talked about, I can't remember if this building's sprinkled or not.
It
But
is.
that, if it's not, that's probably gonna be something that's triggered upon this expansion. So if you guys already have that and you got the fire flows there and so forth, but I assume if you're this type of detail, you've already been past those obstacles. But I just wanted to make sure those are definitely some things y'all are gonna wanna check off.
Yeah, and we've had previous meetings on this project, and then there'll also be a full building package that'll go through as well.
Okay, so the existing building it is in fact already sprinkled?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's gonna make it a heck of a lot easier, if you had an unprotected building and then trying to do this might be challenging. So,
Yes.
not impossible, just expensive. Thank you.
Okay, no further comments or questions. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
Motion passed 7-0.
Next item, 4H, discussion and public hearing on approval of a site plan for Horizon Plaza Phase 2, located at 11011 Kingston Pike, Zone General Commercial, C1, and Floodplain District, FPD, Urban Engineering applicant.
Yes, this is the first phase of this building. It's just to it's a northeast intersection of Admiral Road and Kingston Pike. The first building was approved back in 2021. It's about a 12,000 square foot building that's under construction, as you've probably seen. And most of the parking lot was part of that phase 2 up to about this point here. So all this east is part of the phase 1. This particular site plan is involving the remainder of the property, phase 2, and we have this building located here just to the east of the existing building, and the additional parking here to the south of the building and to the east of the building to support that addition. There's also a vehicular connection that we were able to work out with the property owner over here with the Stonecrest Shopping Center. I called and personally talked to the owner, and he was very open to working with Horizon Plaza on accomplishing this, and I think that will definitely help Stonecrest Shopping Center, because it is a kind of a challenging section of Kingston Pike through there to get in and out. So they'll have a little more options to go if they wanted to further west to maybe have a little safer egress, particularly from that particular development. So they have accounted for that on their revised plans that have been uploaded this week for the staff's review. The remaining comments that we had was, again, the first utility district approving the water and sewer plans. And that's something we've been requiring. You probably see that as a common subject too. It's pretty important because we have had projects in the distant past where there was a lack of communication and it created some real problems. So we definitely want to make sure they look at those and bless the sheets before we have a final approved set. They also need to address on the masonry percentages. They've got 65% masonry and it's 75%, so they're going to have to modify that slightly. The building will match the existing building to the east, but again, the masonry percentages are required to be 75% on the net facade of the entire building. So that's the second thing. Double checking the roof-mounted HVAC units, because we ran into an issue with the building that's under construction, and they're going to have to come back and retrofit that HVAC screen to make it to where it's not visible from Admiral Road in particular. So that's another one. They have updated the cross-lot access. That was another initial comment, but that's not, no longer a comment. The seals, making sure those are correct. A parking summary. They do have a number of compact car parking spaces on the east side, and so you can use up to 20% of your overall parking can be compact car. So these here and along part of this easternmost part of the development are compact car, and they are right at 20% of the overall number of parking spaces. So, and then finally, completing the stormwater maintenance agreement for the entire development. That's a requirement now for new construction, and this development is new enough to where it's not grandfathered in like the Concord Methodist, where that detention basin's been there for many years. This one's obviously still under construction. So with those subject twos, again, the staff recommends approval of the site plan.
Move to approve with the subject twos.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Do we have a representative present?
Yeah, I'm Brad Sharp with Urban Engineering. It's 10330 Hardin Valley Road, suite number 201. I don't have anything to add, but I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Terrific. Any questions from the commissioners?
None.
The only question I would have is that you're comfortable with the subject twos that are listed there, especially the percentages on this?
Yes, sir.
You're good with all?
Do what you gotta do.
Okay, thank you.
Like that attitude.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of motion, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? No?
Motion passed 7-0.
All righty. Moving on, item 4I. Discussion and public hearing on approval of a site plan for 4 commercial buildings associated with the Kingston Pike Village Phase 2 Planned Commercial Development located at 13104-13124 Kingston Pike. Zone Plan Commercial Development, PCD. Kingston Pike Properties, applicant.
Yes, this is a site plan for the commercial part, most of the commercial phase of the planned commercial development at the southwest intersection of South Watt Road and Kingston Pike. They still don't have anybody specific for this particular part of the commercial land. But when they do, they'll obviously have to come back before the planning commission and actually the board, mayor and alderman, with a concept plan. This site plan is just a more detailed version of the concept plan that they did bring before the planning commission and the board of mayor and alderman. As you may remember, the original plan had a grocery store and a fuel center and 2 buildings, retail buildings along Kingston Pike. So they've kind of pretty radically changed the concept, in my opinion, for a better, more kind of residential scale footprint buildings, which would blend in a little better with the multifamily part of this development. This has permeable pavers in a lot of the parking spaces. These shaded areas are permeable pavers. And that's designed to meet the town's requirement for at least 25% of the stormwater being drained to a low-impact development facility. We've got landscaped areas and outdoor seating areas and these kind of transitional buildings between the northern part of the project and then the multifamily up here to the south. There's also a raised crosswalk through this section. I asked them to put in just to slow traffic down. It's kind of straight shot through here. There's not really enough distance to get much speed up, but this is would help with pedestrian safety, particularly depending on what they do over here. If it's a high pedestrian traffic generating kind of use. Another thing that they're doing is tying in the development to the Little Joe's Pizza property, and then the access that Little Joe's has currently to Kingston Pike is going to be taken out. And then they'll have a sidewalk connection into the Little Joe's site from the sidewalk along Kingston Pike. So this will be a much safer situation at this intersection, and I think it'll be a good thing for Little Joe's and this development to kind of tie the two together. One of the comments that we talked about at the staff developer meeting was the traffic impact study. Obviously, this development will generate a fair amount of traffic. So we asked the applicant to start working on a traffic impact study that would also evaluate the developments that's happening on the north side of Kingston Pike where the Publix is being constructed. Now, Publix did a traffic impact study, but at the time, based on their traffic counts, it didn't meet the warrants for a traffic signal. But that, combined with this, potentially could meet the warrants. So one of the subject twos from the staff's approval recommendation for this site plan is just submitting the traffic impact study. The staff and TDOT will initially review that, and if a signal is warranted, then we'll bring that plan back to the Planning Commission at that time. But since the only area that could be affected by this layout is just right around this intersection, this is Y-12 Bank, by the way, just to kind of orient where we're at. We didn't feel like we would recommend holding up the site plan for that at this time because they don't have the traffic impact study completed yet. In fact, they've just started on it. But we will bring back that report and share it with the Planning Commission if it does involve a traffic signal at this particular location. So the remaining subject twos on this site plan were the traffic impact study. Again, we'll have to coordinate that with TDOT, whatever the findings are. The water and sewer plans, as I mentioned on the other projects, being approved by First Utility District, making sure the professional seals are properly signed and dated. The reason I bring those up, the town got when we had an audit from the state, they had, one of their findings was that some of the engineers and architects weren't properly signing and dating their seals. So we've been checking that so we don't get dinged on it again. So it's an easy fix. But landscape plan is going to the VRB next week, and then just obtaining the grading permit and coordinating that work with Little Joe's Pizza as part of this larger project. So with those subject twos, the staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Do we have a representative?
Annette Hummel, Site Incorporated, 10215 Technology Drive, 37932. We're good with all the subject twos, and I don't have anything else to say unless you have questions.
I have a question. Regarding the traffic impact study, you have some buildings here that are loosely designated retail or restaurant or retail office. When you put together a traffic impact study, are you using, that's a potential restaurant, are you using that maximum number as your traffic generation number? How do you guys plan for that?
We don't do the traffic studies.
Okay.
Somebody else is doing that, so I can't answer that question.
Okay. Daryl, is that what they would do?
I think so, yes.
Okay, they would take what they intend to be, could be the potential maximum use?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I have one. The cross there by the Y-12, does those two align, Mark?
Yeah, they
And
do align, yes.
They do align? Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
I don't have any questions. I think we've seen this, these plats several times over the last couple of years. And I think we're getting close to the finish line here, so we're glad to see it. Thank you.
All All right, if there's no further questions, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Yes. Opposed? No?
Okay, motion passed 7-0.
All right, before we go any further, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. All right, we're ready to resume. Everybody take your seats. Next item on the agenda, item 4J, discussion of public hearing on approval of a site plan for 7 Brew Coffee located at 11495 Parkside Drive, zoned regional commercial C2, black design architecture, applicant.
Yes, this is kind of a unique item. This is actually kind of an infill project in part of an existing parking lot just to the southwest of the PGA Superstore frontage. So this is the existing parking lot. Here's Parkside Drive on the south end of the page, and then the PGA Superstore is right up in here, and then At Home is over here to the northwest. So they're basically demoing this part of the parking lot, which I think they're taking out 33 parking spaces, I believe. And they've looked at this. They can give you a count of this, but staff's not concerned about the parking because there's a lot of parking out there. But basically, they're basically going to redevelop that part and have three lanes with a little over 500 square foot, 7 Brew Coffee, drive-through business. The 2 inner lanes are really the customer lanes for the most part. The outer lane could be a customer lane in busy times, but it's mostly going to be a bypass lane. And then kind of reconfiguring the parking spaces along Parkside Drive. There's actually going to be more landscape area after this project than there is out there currently. So they have less impervious surface than what's out there now because all of this is going to be landscaped area. The building itself is going to be mostly brick. I don't think that's normally what they would do, but that's what they are going to do here, or proposing to do. And this is kind of a non-color rendering, and this is kind of the color rendering. A couple of things just to look at and talk about, and we talked about these a little bit at the staff developer meeting on August 5th. And the applicant is here, and they have a color rendering of what the color actually looks like. But the as proposed, the roof is kind of a blue. You know, in our color palette, it doesn't really address roof colors. If you go to the architectural design standards, they do have guidance there, which talks about compatibility with the surrounding context and trying to encourage using earth tones or muted colors. So, you know, those are things to think about here. But the accent color on the canopy, the shade of blue that they're using is pretty similar to one of the blues that's in our adopted color palette, because it's pretty broad. But that's one thing for discussion is the color. This is kind of, there's some pictures of some actual buildings in other locations and kind of what that looks like. Keeping in mind our building is going to be mostly brick, but the color I think is pretty similar to what you're going to see on these slides. And then they have, at night, there's a single band of neon that kind of borders the roof line and the outer part of the canopy. So that's basically what that would look like. So again, it's you know, it's a nice reuse of an area that's not really being used. I think there's a lot of the properties along Parkside Drive that frankly are overparked. And they probably could do this in other places like JCPenney comes to mind, for example. So I think it's a good idea. I think some of the questions for you all are the color of the roof in particular, in comparison to the guidance that we have in our architectural design standards is something to think about. The single band of neon is, you know, we have that on other projects in the town. I mean, there's a number of buildings that do have that. It's not a sign. It's not blinking. So the staff's comfortable with that. As far as the remaining subject twos, in addition to just the Planning Commission's recommendation on the colors, is to make sure that the final site plan set includes all of the information in one set, so that the building elevations, the exterior site lighting, and civil sheets are all submitted together. The seals, again, there's a couple of seals that were incorrect. The landscape plan is actually going to the Visual Resource Review Board next Tuesday, and it's a good landscape plan. And then the grading permit will be required for the demolition and reconstruction of the site-related aspect of this project. The building is actually a modular building, so there's not a lot to that as far as the building code review, but they have had conversations with our building and fire codes about that. So with those remaining subject twos, the staff does recommend approval of the site plan.
Move to approve with the subject twos.
Second.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second. Are any citizens signed up?
No, sir.
Do we have a representative? To step up and give us your name and address, please.
Hello, I'm John Sexton, Black Design Architecture, 2121 First Avenue North, Birmingham, Alabama. I have the actual samples of the materials with the true colors. I think the blue in some of the renderings can kind of look a little bit more vibrant than it is, but it is more of a light blue, muted blue. A muted blue, let's see, so this is the roof panels. Do you want to see this closer up? Or y'all good?
That's what's proposed.
Yes, yes.
For the roof.
It'd be the curved roof is what,
The
it'd be
roof
the
and
curved
the
roof
trim.
as well as the canopy. And then the columns that come down will be matching that blue.
And
So,
is that where the neon will be?
the neon runs around the edge, and it's not really a neon, as in a glass tube and a gas. It's an LED strip that does have a plastic cover over it, so it's not exposed bulb. That's what they're using now, so
And the
it's
blue
not.
is created from shining on the blue trim, is that, or is that a blue light?
It's a blue light.
Okay,
Blue light.
just trying to get, and see, but
Yeah, and then we also have a gray panel that we used as some of the capping on top of the walls. These are the two brick colors. This is the base that we use on all the stores. And then for this project, we are proposing using this brick on top. Typically, in the other pictures, we have a hardy siding painted a brownish gray. And so now we're proposing using this brick, which will be on the building, as well as we'll have this black on the covering the cooler.
What percent is that, Mark?
Excluding the windows and doors, it's almost 100% brick.
You got these panels here is,
aluminum panel.
That's the roof.
Yes.
no, I mean the gray color panel.
Yeah, it's on the cap of the wall that returns around to the back. There's a capping that goes on top of that wall, and it will be what that beige color is, so it doesn't stand out as much against the tan brick, but the
Okay.
curved roof and canopy edge is the blue.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm Mike Gray with Southern Brew Corp. We're the Seven Brew franchisee. We are 3750 Corporate Woods Drive, Birmingham, Alabama, 35242. And we also are the civil engineers for the project, internal civil. So we agreed to the subject twos, and I'm here for any questions that you may have. This is kind of as Mark said, it's kind of a unique project for this area because I think it'd be one of the kind of the first infills, but that's perfect for our brand. We're such a small footprint, and we are taking advantage of that. And as Mark said, I do have the parking space count in that phase 4. Original square footage was a little over 165,000 square feet, which equated to a 4.55 per 1,000 square feet. With the addition of our whopping 522 square feet, we're, and the parking reduction goes to 4.35 per 1,000.
Is this your first, I've noticed a little bit of excitement online about Seven Brew coming in. Is this one of your first ventures up into Knox County, or?
Let's see, so we are south, north, and then all the way up into the Kingsport area. So there's probably 10 or 15 that we have within the state of Tennessee. So we're in a growth mode. I mean, and there's a lot of hype around the Seven Brew coffee. It's a fun brand. There's a lot of energy drink to it. It may be not my personal go-to choice at my age, but it is a popular brand. We're real excited to get some additional growth, and the Farragut area is perfect for us right now.
I'd like a little explanation of how this operation actually works. You see the 2 lanes and possibly 3 lanes of traffic coming in. How do you place the order? How do you pay for it? Where do you pick it up? I'm a little confused on that.
Yeah, so it's all personal touch. So we call them texters. They're out there with an iPad. They're in there. They're talking to you. They're getting your order. That goes back inside to their systems. It's a walkout door situation, kind of like a Chick-fil-A or something like that, and it's all just personal service. So that's how the operation works. And with the two doors that come out, most of the time it serves lane 1 and lane 2, but in a busy time, they can just walk one more step over and we'll serve lane 3.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mark, let's address the blue now.
Yeah, you can see the color, and it is a little lighter than what is, you see there on the screen. I mean, that rendering is much brighter blue, so it is more toned down, and it is very similar to one of the blues that's in our adopted color palette. The question is really the roof, because it's not really an accent element, it's the roof itself, and your all's comfort level as to whether you're okay with the roof being blue like that, because the adopted color palette is really not for roofs, it's for accent color, banding, like the canopy. And then, like I said earlier, the guidance in the standards does prescribe more toned down kind of earth tones for roofs.
Is this a brand color? Yes, sir, it is. I actually have a few more, a little bit more updated renderings if I could pass these around. This shows more of the brick color, all brick rendering.
I mean, the majority of that roof is only seen if you're over next to the PGA Superstore. Is that's the sloping side, the rear
Yeah,
elevation.
that's true. Yeah,
So you're really
right.
not gonna see, I mean, all you're really seeing is the fascia of the blue from any public right-of-way. And I do think that their sample, as long as we hold your feet to the fire on your sample and you stay true to it, is a lot more muted than this kind of vibrant blue that's being shown in the elevations. So anyway, for whatever that's worth, I'm okay with the blue. I do have a question. Let's go back to your mechanicals. I see a little, I mean, you have a walk-in cooler, which is somewhat screened with some compatible veneer, it looks like. And then you got some mechanicals on the roof. Of course, it's a small building. I mean, I guess you have another walk-in on the inside?
No, sir. It's
Or just they're all reach-ins on the inside?
Yes, sir.
And then obviously you got some HVACs. You probably only have one condenser sitting up there on the roof.
That's correct.
And so is that what we're looking at, some screening, that screening up there? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then my final question is, where's the closest bike rack to this particular, that shopping center probably has a bike rack over there near the PGA Superstore, and I'm not seeing a new bike rack, but I do think that this would be an area that folks would ride their bike to and unhook, sit outside at one of your tables, enjoy your coffee.
Yeah, we'd be happy to add a bike rack. The only thing is there's not a true walk-up service here. It is a pure drive-through service. But if somebody wants to come and sit outside, we'd be happy to put a bike rack in. That's not a problem.
Okay, this leads me to a different question then. In some of the renderings, I saw some outdoor kind of picnic-style tables. What would be if you don't have walk-up service, why would you have those?
That's an employee break area that they go outside and sit down.
Okay.
Do you have a dumpster enclosure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so. With barn doors? Is that a barn door type arrangement?
Let me see if it's in here. It was in the packet, I know, but it'll have a bricked enclosure to match the brick on the building.
It does have two swinging doors. I can see it on the plan.
It's got barn doors, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't think.
You know, I'm gonna retract my comment about the bike rack. If you don't have any walk-up service, the odds of your employees riding their bikes are probably slim, not unheard of, but probably not. They're probably gonna wanna get their vehicle there and if they show up in the sun and leave in the rain, they probably don't wanna be on a bike there. So I'm not as concerned about the bike rack, but I can't think of the last time in the town that we had something that was just purely drive-through only without any walk-in service. Maybe 30 years ago, maybe a Checkers is probably the last time I can remember anything that was just drive-through. So it's a little atypical. I do think it is a good use, and I like the fact that quite frankly, that you guys are creating less impervious surface than what's there today. That's always a good thing. And so, I mean, that's, you know, if everybody else is on board with the blue, and we appreciate your attempts of trying to address our wishes for brick, or at least masonry veneers. And we think you've done a good job with that. You know, it's a modular building, so I hope your modular building structurally can handle. It looks like you used maybe thin brick instead of full-size brick, so.
That's correct.
That makes it a little bit easier.
Right, and it is a true prefabricated building, so it does have state seals that come from the factory, so it's state of Tennessee inspected and all that. So they actually bring it in, they drop it down on top of our foundation. It's put together in about 2 days, so it already comes stamped and ready to go.
Kind of like that restroom we got behind the town hall here. Does with it being that color of blue, over a period of time, that's going to fade, so it will fade out. Other locations?
No, sir, not. We have not.
You have not?
We have
Oh,
not.
wow.
And we do have about 30 of these locations, so to your point about the blue, it's too expensive to change color, so we've been consistent all the way around.
Well, it kind of matches the chairs that we have in here. I think we're fine.
Was that a motion?
Didn't we make a motion?
We got a motion on the
Any further questions, comments? All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say yes. Yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no? All right,
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
thank you.
Pass 7-0.
All right, item 4.
6-0, sorry.
Oh, we did lose one, didn't we?
Item 4K, discussion and public hearing on amendments to the Farragut Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, zoning, Chapter 2, definitions, and Chapter 4, Section 4, customary home occupations. Town of Farragut applicant.
Yes, this particular item has been discussed at several planning commission meetings, most recently last month when Bart Hose presented this. He's been working with a citizen group for months, putting this together. And it really is a nice update to our current provisions. It's pretty much a complete replacement. It provides for a wider range of potentially permissible occupation types. It develops a two-tiered regulatory system by which certain occupations don't have to get approvals or permits that are kind of no-brainers. And then it updates some conditional performance standards. Since the Planning Commission meeting last month, we did make a couple of changes to mainly the application and permit process part of the ordinance. We added some language in there that these home occupations are not transferable, and that should be obvious, but we wanted to put it in the ordinance itself. And then we did eliminate the request, although it could certainly be added back, to have a 2-year permit expiration renewal. We felt like if somebody gets a permit, they are meeting the requirements, it's not transferable. We kind of saw that as an extra bureaucratic step. And it really, frankly, is just going to create more work for the staff too, in addition to the applicants. And if somebody doesn't comply with the conditions of the home occupation that they were approved for, then that home occupation will be rescinded until they can bring it into compliance. So we just didn't feel like that was necessary. So that's basically the only changes that we made since it was presented to you all last month. We did also add, as far as the effective date of the ordinance, it would not become effective until 60 days after final passage. And the reason for that is it gives us time to work on developing an application and permitting process that's consistent with the ordinance language. So with that, we recommend approval of Resolution PC-25-06, which recommends approval of Ordinance 25-13.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any citizens wanting to speak on this subject?
No, sir.
Okay. I personally want to say that I thought this was an excellent job by Bart and any other staff members that worked on it, and I thought the small citizen input group did a great job as well. So I'm very impressed and very happy to see this completed. Any other comments or questions? Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? No?
Motion passes 6-0.
All right. All right, now we have a discussion item. And 5A is the next item on the agenda. It's a discussion on updates to the driveways and other access ways ordinance concerning how accesses are approved and appoint opportunities to streamline the approval process where possible. Town of Farragut applicant. That was a mouthful.
Yeah, this item was brought to you all back in June as a workshop discussion. And since there's so many changes being proposed to this ordinance, we felt like we might ought to workshop it again. We had good feedback from the first workshop session, and we incorporated, I think, the comments that we did hear into this language. Just to give you a little background, this ordinance was written originally in 1997, and some of it has never been amended, so it's in very much need of being completely revisited, and which is what I did. We have made some changes to the ordinance over the past few years. Most recently, we did change some of the traffic impact study requirements to account for impacts to non-motorists. And I think those have been good changes that we've seen in the new traffic impact studies. But most of the changes that are being proposed at this time really just kind of develop more consistent language with some of the other ordinances that we've revised recently, like the sign ordinance. We've taken out the policy statement section and added a purpose, intent, and scope of the ordinance to really clearly define what are the different objectives of this ordinance and how we tie it to our comprehensive land use plan and those important goals of connectivity, taking into consideration all users of the transportation system. And then just updating, other sections, like I said earlier, some of this ordinance was written in 1997 and has not been revisited since. So there's a lot of language in there that frankly is just incorrect with what our processes are. So we wanted to update that. We added, for legal purposes, a couple of sections dealing with if you have conflicts in the ordinance with other ordinances, the more restrictive apply. That's a standard legal section that you should have in all new ordinances. And then severability. If a court of record finds some section of this ordinance invalid, it doesn't render the whole ordinance as being invalid. So those were a couple of important things we added from a legal perspective. The most significant changes we made was just trying to develop approval and submittal sections that reflected really what we do, and then trying to look at our processes to see if there's opportunities to streamline the approval process so that applicants don't have to go through both the Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for variance approvals. We've had 17 variances requested in the past 5 years to this ordinance, and many of those, all those had to ultimately go to both the Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And many of them were really no-brainers, and I'm just going to go through a few on the screen. This one was on the new subdivision Saddlebrook has on Boring Road, and that's a major collector street. It was a no-brainer as far as where their access needed to go, but there was a residential driveway that was within 200 feet of, so they had to request a variance and go through both the planning commission and the board. We're trying to take that board step out for most of these variances. And here's another example on Heron Road. Somebody was building a house. They had to move the access a little bit to have better sight distance, but it didn't meet the 200-foot distance requirement for a minor collector street, so that variance had to go through the planning commission and the board. Turkey Creek Road, this guy was adding an access for his dock, and it, again, was a no-brainer, but the process was kind of long for what he was requesting. South Hobbs Road was another one. There was building a new house. There was no way to physically get a driveway that would meet the 200-foot distance requirement, so they had to get a variance from that and go through both the planning commission and the board. So again, looking at our approval process and trying to figure out, does this make sense? Is this necessary? Are there ways to simplify it and streamline it for the applicant and for the people that have to review and approve these, and giving the town engineer more flexibility to look at some of these things. And if he has a concern, he can bring it to the planning commission. But again, that's some of the overriding goals of what we were trying to do with this update to this particular ordinance. If y'all have any questions or anything specifically you want me to address in this, I'd be happy to try to go over that with you, because there's a lot of, as you saw in the packet, there's a lot of stuff that's being taken out and added.
Commissioners, any comments?
No, I don't have any comment.
I think, Mark, you've done a great job on this. A lot to read, a lot to try to go back and look at. So I know you spent a lot of time on it, and it shows.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll try to have this in an ordinance hopefully next month, so.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right, next item number 6 is anything under utilities, Mark?
No, sir.
And then citizens forum, any?
Yes, I do have one citizen that signed up to speak, Greg Wibberly? Wyberly. Okay, sorry.
Job before you, right?
Evening, Mr. Mayor. Nice to see you again.
You too. Glad you're here again.
I like to be involved. I just wanted to follow up.
We need your name and address, please.
Oh, excuse me, 12603 Evans Road, Greg Wyberly. I just wanted to follow up a little bit on our conversation last week. You know, some people are getting fed up with all the social media stuff, which is why I try to present to the town, you know, the facts as I see them, document them. I've done that before with engineering reports. And for those of you that do not know me, this applies to the Evans Road Improvement Project. So tonight it's on this TDOT document on multimodal access policy. And in this document, it provides for exceptions to the way the town can go about deciding what to do on properties. And one of those exceptions is the use of prudence, which is the ability to discern the right course of action in a given situation. And I think both myself and my neighbors have given compelling evidence to the town why the proposed changes to Evans Road, specifically on the west end, are probably not in our best interest. For example, one of those was that it was made abundantly clear that it's not a good idea to put a dog walk next to a livestock enclosure. And yet I sat over there listening tonight about the proposed design for a dog park, where you're concerned about two dogs mixing it up together, big dogs and little dogs. And yet there seemed to be a total indifference to our point that you're putting dogs next to our livestock. And that just did not seem reasonable. And the other thing that I noticed was the comment that improving to Virtue Road, where that hump in the road just north of Evans is a safety problem. Well, when that first came up many years ago, when the farm was being developed and improvements were being talked about to Evans Road on that east side, both myself and our neighbors came to the town and said, you know, look, there's a hump in the road, you're putting increased traffic there, this is not a good idea. And it just amazes me that it took all this time for y'all to figure out that we were right then, and we're probably right now on the Evans Road's improvements that are being proposed. So I think that's all I have to say about that, but again, that's the document I'm referring to, that there are exceptions, and we feel like we're one of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, commissioners, anybody else have anything to say? Any questions, comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second? Anybody in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Approximately 7:41, we're adjourned.